Wow. Well, let's technical.
Welcome to Jets Rewind, covering the New York Jets. I'm Marty Schupak in Valley Cottage, New York. I'm joined by my two close friends, Ray Clifford in Ohio and Ralph Sharega in Massachusetts. What's the matter, Ralph? You give me a sign.
It's like I didn't think you knew where I was for a second. I don't know where I am all the time either. But
That's all right.
because it feels like I'm in Florida right now. It's really warm out.
Yeah, oh, it's been beautiful in the Northeast for the last 3 days. It's been great. Little drizzle today. Ray, how are you doing?
Doing all right. Yeah, it's still warm here too, but today's a little drizzly, but cold weather's heading in this week.
Ray, did you go to the Ohio State Penn State game?
No, that's a madhouse.
Yeah.
But it was that was a good win, but I'm not sold that Penn State was all that really that good to begin with.
I didn't like either quarterback. I thought they both looked pretty bad, actually.
Yeah.
No, I think it's Ohio State's defense will determine how far they go.
Well, anyway, we cover the New York Jets. We're recording this on Friday, October 27th at 12:07 p.m. And Ralph, you have a classic trivia question, right?
Right. Well, Marty, I think you were going to announce that the Jets will be facing Tyrod Taylor on Sunday.
I was going to go through some house cleaning after trivia. That's one.
So my trivia question is: last year the Jets feasted on backup quarterbacks. They beat Miami, Chicago, and Denver. Can you name the three backup quarterbacks that they beat in those games? Now, Miami, it was actually their third stringer because Bridgewater got hurt in the first play.
Yeah. Miami, Chicago, and who else?
Denver.
Well, I'll say this.
Yeah.
One of them is very obvious. I just don't know which team he was on, Chicago or Denver.
Yeah, right.
But I know one of them is. We're going to come back to that. And
what was the second team?
What was Miami, Chicago, Denver.
Okay.
Okay, I'm putting down the name. I'm not sure which team he played for. I think it was
I think he was probably played for both teams. He just
I don't know which ones. Yeah. Okay. Let me throw in my quick one and we'll come back. This is the week of the Jets-Giants game. And as a former great NFL coach, Weeb Eubank used to say, it's for bragging rights.
Right.
So that's what he used to say. But I wonder how many players played for both teams.
Oh, I knew you were going to come up with that one.
and how many you can name. So we'll do that.
Oh.
I do have an unofficial list. I'll give you a hint. And actually, they put players and coaches, and they have Bill Parcells. We're not going to include coaches. So they have, let's see, with Parcells, they have, on this list, they have 10. So let's say there are 9 players.
That's all? Really?
I think there are more.
It must be. It's got to be a lot more. And there were probably 10 in the Parcells era where that he pulled from the Giants to the Jets.
Oh, this is the top 10 members.
Oh.
That's I'll
probably be in the 30s or more if we try to.
Yeah, it probably was. I was actually going to ask what quarterbacks played for both teams.
All right. Well, that we can work on.
So I don't know. We'll get to. But anyway, a couple of announcements as Ralph threw out. It's not going to be Daniel Jones. It was announced that it's going to be Tyrod Taylor will start at quarterback. He is fairly mobile. I don't think he has as much of a football IQ as Daniel Jones, but we'll see. DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner, they passed the concussion protocol, so that's good. Tippmann is out. Joe Tippmann's out at guard. I still don't know the severity of his injury. Wes Schweitzer will start at right guard. So those are the announcements, and now let's get going on this, guys. It's the Jets-Giants. It's at Giants Stadium or MetLife Stadium. It's a Giant home game, and the first question is, for the rest of the year, we each have to pick an offensive and defensive player who we think will be kind of an impact player for the rest of the year. So I'm going to start.
More so than he has been, in the first half.
So Ray, I'm going to start with you. Let's we'll each give an offensive play, and then we'll go to defense. Go ahead, Ray.
Wait a minute, you want to do this every week?
No, for the rest of the year.
Okay. I thought you
Yeah,
said
just-
every week we're gonna pick somebody.
No, we're not going to pick someone. I'm
Until we
sorry.
get it right, yeah.
Let's do it on the offensive end. Go ahead, Ray.
More impact. Well, I think the obvious one is Gibson.
Oh,
I think they're going to start. And we can talk about that a little later about them sending Hardiman back, but that was all because of Gibson.
okay.
Yeah.
Gibson. I was going to say Gibson, but I'm going to change that. I don't want to duplicate it. I'm gonna. Who's the tight end? I forget his.
Rucker.
I'm gonna say
right?
Jeremy Rucker.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say that, and we're gonna get into this. Jeremy Rucker is gonna get a lot more snaps than Uzama. Go ahead, Ralph.
Anyway, it's Rucker. Rucker was the Rucker tournament.
Reggie Rucker.
Yeah,
played
yeah.
for BU.
Right. Yeah. Were you there when he was there?
I was not. And then he played. I guess he played for the Patriots and maybe the Giants.
Right.
There's a player. I think he played for both. But go ahead, Ralph. You're off.
So those are the two most obvious. I'm gonna say Alan Lazard. I feel like they need to get him involved more. Now that Hardman's gone, I mean it's really Lazard and Wilson. So I'm gonna go with Lazard.
Okay, that's three good picks. All right, we'll go to the defensive side of the ball, and I'm going to start. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say it's going to be Will McDonald. I say his snaps are going to increase game by game, and I think he's going to have a lot bigger impact than people think the rest of the season. So with that, Ralph, you go.
I hope you're right, Marty. The guy I'm going to pick is going to surprise you. It's going to be Quinnen Williams. I thought he had a decent first half, but nothing like he last year when he was so dominant. And I think we'll see that this year, starting in Sunday's game, going up against Schmitz, the center for the Giants.
Ralph, do you think it's because of his reputation that they're actually game planning around him, and maybe that's why his
I think that's part of it.
Doing better?
That's part of it, yeah. And Jermaine are doing better, yeah. But I think he's good enough to deal with the old teams. He was busting through them last year a lot, so I'm expecting him to get back to his dominant ways.
Okay, all right, Ray. Now, who do you pick as a defensive player who will have more of an impact the rest of the season than he's had?
I think, and I might be more hoping than think. I think I want to see more out of Sauce. I want to see him pick up his game on the shorter passes too. We talked how on the longer routes he's not a problem, but they've been kind of working him on the short routes. I want to see if he can get back to the guy who they don't even throw to his side most of the game. So I think he can, if he's got the ability. He's got that athletic ability, and he's got that build where he can handle the shorter routes. I just don't think he was thinking anybody'd pick on him, and I don't think he's showing us everything he's got yet.
It's a good pick. I want to ask Ralph, because he reviews a lot of film. How is Sauce Gardner when he does hold on to the ball in the open field? Is he like an Aaron Glenn?
I don't know about that. He's certainly not like our friend from the Baltimore Ravens, Ed Reed, but we'll find out.
Yeah, he should have at least.
He should have a few. He needs to get some picks.
Because he looks incredibly athletic. I just want to see his moves. So okay, now the trade deadline, I guess, is what is it, Ray? Halloween, Tuesday, 4:00 New York time, I believe.
It is Tuesday if that's Halloween.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, 4:00.
So we're gonna do two parts of this, and before we get to the second part, I'm gonna do a couple of shout outs. But on the Jets, who do you think we're gonna just from this list? Who is most likely to be traded by Tuesday? And I put down, it could be more. You could add to it. I put Carl Lawson, Dalvin Cook, Bryce Hall, CJ Uzama. So Ray, why don't you start?
again, I think it's like the obvious ones to me, and I'll be stunned if Lawson isn't gone. And I think they'll get rid of Cook, and it might be just kind of like with Hardiman. I think they might just say, "Hey, where do you want to go?" And let's get you somewhere where you might get some more playing time. But I don't know. I think they'll hang on to Hall because I don't know if they feel like all our DBs can stay healthy the rest of the year, and you always want depth there. And I think Uzama's a good locker room guy, so I won't be surprised if any of them get traded. But those are the two I think will stick around: Uzama and Hall.
When he went on the injured list, I know there are two types of lists: 4 weeks and the whole season. It wasn't clear to me if
Who are you talking about?
Kenny Uboa, is he on 4-week list? Is he eligible to come off? Or is he, maybe, do you know, Ralph? Is he done for the year?
No, I don't know, but I don't think he's in their plans right now.
Okay. All right, Ralph.
We're going to get Ruckert some more touches. Forget about Uboa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ralph, what's your opinion on
that? I would say that of the four, Hall would be the least likely to be traded for, Ray said, because I see Michael Carter II might not play this weekend too. So, they've been having problems with that. I don't think anyone's interested in Uzama. So I think it's Cook and Lawson. And I think Cook is probably the most attractive of those two guys for trade. But, Lawson just has not produced in 3 years. And, now he complains of back problems. So I'll say Cook.
Yeah, I didn't think Lawson was awful the last time he played. Interestingly, though, a numbers game, he played, and what's his name was Michael Clemens was a healthy scratch.
Yeah,
which I thought was a little bit telling. I've been a little bit down on Michael Clemens, but I just want to tell you, I don't know if I want to trade Carl Lawson. He's one of those guys that if they traded him, and let's say, God forbid, Bryce Huff goes down, and then we're all going to be saying, "Oh, I wish we didn't trade Lawson." I mean, they have the system now, and I know guys got to be healthy scratches, but we're only 6 games into the season, so I don't want to trade Lawson. I know he hasn't been as effective, but I'd like to keep him. Dalvin Cook, I would trade in a second. I think a lot of it depends on Sunday if anyone gets injured. Bryce Hall. Now, Ralph, what's the name of one of the no names that played that day?
Craig James.
Yeah, I mean, if the 2 starters are healthy and they have Craig James, or do you think that was just a lightning in a bottle? I mean, maybe
I don't know, and I'm also not convinced that Brandon Eccles is better than Bryce Hall. You go back and forth on that.
I agree with you there. I agree 100%. I'm not, Brandon Eccles, and Ray will confirm this. He's like either a sink or swim type of guy.
Yeah.
He'll make those Ray. He'll make those ridiculous penalties, but
and then he'll have a great game then the next week, and
Ray doesn't want him traded because he picked him to lead
the
Jets in interceptions.
He's going to make a late push,
right?
For 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so and we're going to get to the what maybe the Jets are looking for. Before that, I want to do a couple of shout outs. First one, and Ralph, it's not the guy we know, Marty Friedman of Monroe Township in New Jersey. He is an incredible Jet fan. I'm telling you, when the Jets lose, this guy misses meals. So he's been a Jet fan longer than us. So
we should all be very thin if that's the case,
A shout out to you, Marty. Thanks for listening. And he's the father of a good friend of mine, Kenny Friedman. And also shout out to Frank Vasquez, whose lovely wife, Alexis, I know. Frank is another incredible Jet fan. So shout out to both those guys, Marty Friedman and Frank Vasquez. Now, as far as the Jets, Ray, I know you're obsessed with offensive linemen, and I agree. I just don't think they could go out there and trade or get someone. But they're talking about wide receiver, picking somebody up. And it looks like Randall Cobb is slowly losing snaps, which I think we're all happy about. But some of the names being bandied about are Cortland Sutton from the Broncos, Terrace Marshall from the Panthers, DeAndre Hopkins from the Titans, Hunter Renfrow from the Raiders. Ray, what's your take on as far as a wide receiver spot?
Um, I don't, I don't like any of those guys on that list, but if I had to pick one, I'd say Hunter Renfrow. I mean, hasn't he had a bunch of concussions though? But I mean, I think I don't think our receiving room is a problem. I think our problem is the passing game in general. Either through protecting the quarterback or through the quarterback himself being more accurate and able to do more from the pocket. But so I don't want to see him go. I'd rather see him go after something else we might need, whatever it might be, a linebacker or somebody. I think our linebackers have, for the most part, been good on the one side, but I mean, if you had to go by those guys you listed, I think Hunter Renfrow to me sounds more interesting than I don't want DeAndre Hopkins. I think he's done. Cortland Sutton, I still like him too, but I'd be surprised if they tried to trade for a wide receiver. I think they would try for something else.
Okay, and Ralph, what's your take on that? And feel free to add someone if you want.
Yeah, obviously the offensive line is what they need, but everyone does, and there's nobody's giving up good offensive linemen at this point in the year. I don't think they should or will invest in a receiver because, frankly, I think it's a waste of money as long as Wilson's the quarterback. He's just not going to take advantage of them. Cortland Sutton is a good football player. To me, he's almost a carbon copy of Alan Lazard. They're about the same size, same age, and their statistics are very similar too. And Lazard doesn't get enough touches, so I don't think that would. Hunter Renfrow, he's a little slot guy. To me, he's a little bit better than Braxton Berrios. I know he's had better numbers, but he's played in a better system. The guy that intrigues me actually is Terrence Marshall. I thought he was great coming out of college. He has done nothing in the pros. He's really talented, but the question is it him or is it he's been on a dysfunctional team for 3 years?
Ralph, I hope the second thing you said is right, because this guy you have better numbers than him. You know how many touchdown passes he's caught in 3 years?
One.
Yeah.
I know, but you look at that team, it's horrible. He has talent. It might be him. It's probably a combination of both. He's 23 years old. He's been in the league 3 years. I wouldn't be getting him to help this year, but I'd be intrigued if they could get him and have Rodgers work with him next year. But obviously, none of these guys, like I feel with Ray, they're going to get him. I don't think that would change much if they did.
Right. I want to stay in the wide receiver. And Ralph, it's interesting about Terrace Marshall. I mean, I don't think they'd have to give up more than a 6th or 7th round pick.
Yeah, I would make that investment. The great thing is he's played in such a bad passing game that it wouldn't be like he was coming down to something worse. It would be about the same,
except for the red zone. Okay.
Yeah.
And also I think he's not like a real short guy. I think he's like 6'2".
No, he's 6'2". He runs like a 4.4. They had him, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase on that LSU team with Joe Burrow. Unbelievable. No wonder they set every record in the history book.
Yeah. And Ralph, I'm going to stay on Ralph, and Ray, you're going to chip in. When did it start, Ralph, that shorter guys are more or less slot receivers? And I'll tell you why. I was looking back, and again, it's hard to compare. I was looking back at the Dan Marino Dolphins.
Yeah.
You know how tall Mark Duper was?
They were both about 5'9" or 5'10".
5'9". Mark Duper, Ray, and Mark Clayton were 5'9".
Yeah.
You know how tall Xavier Gibson is?
Yeah, he's 5'9".
He's 5'9". So everyone's talking about the slot, but I don't understand why they can't use a guy like Gibson on the outside.
They can. I mean, Steve Smith, the great player, he was like about 5'10". What's his name? The crazy guy.
Washington used to have all kinds of small guys.
Yeah, the Smurfs. Yeah, they have the Smurfs. Obviously, players are bigger now. So that's, you're talking 30, 40 years ago, Marty.
I understand.
The big receiver who could go up and get the ball.
Right. But there are still guys who are on the smaller side. what's the crazy guy from the Steelers who wanted to play with Brady?
Brown.
Yeah,
Right.
Brown.
He was pretty short. Steve Smith, like I said, 5'9", 5'10". He's a Hall of Famer.
The guy who quit on
If you got the talent, you can do it.
Yeah.
But Hunter Renfro but he's a slot guy, and he's a little.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. I forgot about Marshall being at LSU.
Yes.
Yeah, that probably is actually, if they were to go after one, you're right. That's probably the one to go after.
I think
probably has the most upside.
Yeah, I think part of his problem was I think he came out when he was 20 years old. He's probably very immature.
Well, and you look at those three guys, and who's the forgotten guy? Marshall.
Yeah. But the other two guys landed with good quarterbacks. That's the thing. Yeah.
Is there any chance that like Brownlee or Irv Charles, maybe they could get more repetitions as a wide receiver?
Yeah, I definitely think that's probably their plan initially to see what these guys can give them.
Yeah.
I see Charles might not play, but this weekend. But
what happened
Brownlee,
to Charles? He's
got like a shoulder problem. He was limited today. He was limited.
That's huge because he's really stepped as a special teams guy, which is good. There are 11 games left, and Ray, I want to start with you. Assuming that Zach Wilson is healthy for the rest of the way, out of the 11 games, how many do you think he'll start?
Also assuming that Rodgers doesn't come back.
Let's assume that.
Okay. 11. I don't see it. I mean, unless he really, goes back into that tank he was in last year, I don't think I don't think they'd bench him. I think he's shown enough, and if they protect him, that they'll keep going with him. I think I don't see any reason they wouldn't stick with him unless he's absolutely horrible.
Okay, and how about you, Ralph?
I think if he's playing at the level he's playing at now, which is not that great, I think he'll play the rest of the season. Yeah. I don't think they think Trevor Simeon's going to give them any more.
The Jets are 32 out of 32 teams in the red zone. And I'm telling you, if I was coach, I would do something out of the box. I would keep Zach Wilson in there till they get the ball within like the 30-yard line. And then I would put Trevor Simeon in there, or who's the other guy? Because Zach Wilson, he cannot get this team into the end zone. He's awful. He can't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
He can't do it.
That's not the way to handle it.
I wouldn't do it at the 30 though, Marty. Maybe more like the 15. He's all right getting him inside the 15 or 10. At that point, he's not good. But there is hope. The one play we never really talked about in the Philly game was the 2-point conversion, which was a nice play. That's
great pass.
Yeah, we got to see more of that. He
right. That was to Randall Cobb, right?
Right.
Yeah, that was a good play. Ray, you're shaking your head. You're doing the Marty shake. Tell me why they would never do something like that.
Yeah, you talk about wanting to kill a guy's, make him feel like he's not any good and just kill his any progress he's made. Yeah, take him out when they get to the 15 every time and make him. Well, I suck, so I can't. I got to come out when we're on the 15 every time. I can't see him doing that. That would just, that would stun me. I mean, if they did it once in a while for whatever reason, I could see it. But every time they get in the red zone, you're gonna swap them out
every time. 100%.
If they had a guy like a Brad Smith or Taysom Hill or someone like that in about the 5-yard line, I'd try that. Yeah.
Yeah,
or maybe like
Trevor Simeon, then you might as well play Simeon.
No, yeah. Tim Tebow in college used to do that. He'd come in on the 5-yard line.
Ray,
but they don't have anyone like that.
We keep talking about confidence and all that. How long are we going to baby this son of a gun? It's just going on and on.
The coaches. I think the coaches have coddled him too much, and that's why I think they started playing, calling the plays a little different when they started playing Kansas City. Was to, we had said before, open it up a little bit. Let's see what he can do, and he's done better. He hasn't been great by any means, but he's done better. But if you're just going to take him out for Trevor Simeon or whoever,
who's the other guy? What's his name?
Ralph? Doyle.
Tim Boyle. Why don't you just, then just start them?
Look, I keep, we go on, and I see this guy from the Chicago Bears, Division II. He comes in and he didn't light it up 300 yards, but he looked fairly comfortable.
Marty, look, I understand your frustration. I think they got to get more. The first thing is instead of pulling and get more creative down the red zone. But
well, I'm going to go into my 5 key points to win the game too, which we'll get into right now. But again, Ralph, when you say I'm frustrated, you have no idea how frustrated I am with this quarterback. It's just, again, I mentioned the guy from Chicago. He went to, I think, Shepherd College, Division II.
Shepherd something. It didn't even sound like a college. It sounded like a monastery or something like that.
Veterinarian office. And then Ray, the guy from Arizona, what's his name? Dobbs. No, Dobbs. What's the quarterback's name they picked up?
Corporal Dobbs from F Troop. I don't know.
Dobbs. Yeah.
They look. I don't want to say they'll never be a Pro Bowl or All Pro, but they look so much more comfortable than Zach Wilson. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. I agree with you, Marty. We watch all these scrubs, and it is. But you know what? They've won 2 games in a row. They're not going to change things. They got 2 winnable games coming up. If they win both those games, they're just gonna go with it. If they don't, they have to get more creative.
And Ralph, Ray's been great critiquing me in 2 Minute Tuesday and everything. And I promised him I wouldn't call Zach Wilson something. So Ray, I'm not going to call him.
No, but everybody knows what that is. And you didn't call him something. You just say something about it.
And listen, I hope to God this guy could light it up and become a 10-year quarterback. But anyway, let's move on. I'm going to go to Marty's key points. I was looking at these, Ray, and they seem to be a lot of redundancy, but we're going to still go in. Ralph, a little music, my key points to beating the Giants. The Giants, as you both know, they are the 3rd most blitzing team in the NFL. They blitz 47% of the time. And I've said this before, but we need quick passes from Zach Wilson. And what we have to do, and Ralph, you mentioned this a few weeks ago, we got to get guys in there that could get separation. We can't have Randall Cobb in there. And at times, maybe you can't have Lazard in there. We need guys to get separation quickly. We can't have CJ Uzama. So that's the first thing, quick passes. The second thing is, you mentioned it, I want the Wildcat. I want either Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall, Xavier Gibson to line up in the Wildcat. We have to offset their pass rush, and that's one of the ways to do it. On defense, I only want to rush 4. I don't want to blitz. We have to stay in our lanes. Tyrod Taylor isn't as good a runner as Daniel Jones, but he is a fairly good runner. Also, the 4th point, I mentioned on 2 Minute Tuesday, if you notice, there was something subtly that was happening. Zach Wilson was getting the ball over center a few more times than he usually does during the game. It wasn't all shotgun. And I would continue that with the hopes that they'll have a design run for Zach Wilson, a design safe run. And the last thing is, the one guy that scares me on the Giants is Dexter Lawrence. And if I was the offensive coordinator, I would somehow double team him wherever he is on the field. So those are my 5 points. And I'm going to ask Ray for his response. And I know
Dexter Lawrence was limited practice today, or yesterday. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a key. All right. So I want to get both your reactions, and then, you supplement, because you guys are more of X's and O's. Ralph used to be the executive producer of the Ali Sherman show in the early 60s.
That's right. Homer Jones was my director.
Ray, what give me your feedback, and what else would you do knowing the Giants? They have a terrible offensive line too, but their defense is a good blitzing team. So Ray, what would you do?
Well, I don't like the Wildcat. I don't think we have if we do the Wildcat, none of the guys that we have at running back that I know of pose any threat of actually throwing the ball a little bit. And so that means if they line up in the Wildcat with our iffy offensive line, we're going to have to try and find a way to create running lanes for them. I don't know that would work with us. I mean, if you had a guy back there who could maybe, and I'm not talking, whipping it 40 yards down the field, but just some a trick play where a tight end could slip on out and they could get him the ball. That might work.
How about Randall Cobb in the Wildcat? He's our emergency quarterback.
Yeah.
He'd be the one
Yeah,
if he has any legs left.
I was gonna say he's a lot less of a threat as a runner though. So I don't know, but somebody who could maybe throw the ball a little bit. Uzama, to me, the thing he used to do with Cincinnati that he doesn't seem to get any of with the Jets is he'd catch these seam passes from Burrow and take it, down the field for like 20, 30 yards. And we seem to only have him do these out patterns to the sideline and stuff. I'd like, if they're going to use him, they got to use him at what's his strength, which is he's somewhat athletic as far as catching and running. He's not a great blocker. So get him the ball somewhere where he can do something out there. As far as who I agree, if Lawrence is healthy and on the field, he's somebody like that. But wasn't it Isaiah Simmons that was blowing us up in that preseason game?
Yeah, he's going against second stringers. Yeah.
Those are the kind of he's kind of in the Micah Parsons kind of mold of the not that big guy, but he's kind of quick and come off the line and cause trouble. And so that's who I worry might get some stuff done. But other than that, I think this is a good matchup for us.
Well, what I thought of, Ray, is I was thinking about both teams. I think the Giant defense is a lousy matchup for the Jet offense, but I think the Giant offense is a lousy matchup for the Jets defense. I think
we should win the game by 40 points.
Well, yeah, there's going to be a lot of strip sacks. So, Ralph, I want your opinion, but I want to ask Ralph right off the bat. You're going to give me your opinion. Does Thibodeau scare you on the Giants?
Scare me? No, he doesn't scare me.
You concerned about him?
Yeah. I mean, he'll probably make his presence known. I mean, the Jets, Wilson gets sacked several times every game. I expect him to get sacked, and probably Thibodeau will get one or two. But I don't think that will. I don't think he controls the game, other than his pass rush. So I mean, most teams have one guy who's going to hurt them with their pass rush. So I'm not anymore. He doesn't worry me as much as Micah Parsons did.
Right. What else, Ralph?
About your stuff. The two things that jump out at me that I don't agree with: the Wildcat and Zach Wilson running. You know what play I would kind of like to see is. Remember a couple of years ago, 1 or 2 years ago, Wilson caught a little touchdown pass. It was the Philadelphia play, something like that.
Right.
But Wilson running, I don't want to design play. As far as the Wildcat against the blitz, I think that's a losing matchup. I think with the blitz, you got to like throw screen passes over the blitzers and draw them in. I feel like with Wilson and with most quarterbacks, you got to get them passing the ball consecutive downs, 2, 3, 4, 5, get them into a rhythm. You can see it helps him. It helps all quarterbacks. And the Jets are just so slow to do that during a game. I'd like to see them start that earlier. I worry off a bye week that they're going to be a little flat at the beginning, but of course that's no different than they are during every week. So right. I would definitely like to see some hurry up, and I'd like to see some more passing.
Yeah, and Ralph, your point's well taken, because like every team, the Giants are going to play like 7, 8, 9 guys up in the box.
Yeah,
I think the Jets should, take what they give them. There's nothing wrong with passing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in a row. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So great points, guys. All right, we're going to close this out. Let's get
back into the over-unders.
I'm sorry. Over-unders. This is the most popular.
Yeah.
Over-unders. Okay, here we go.
Everyone's waiting to put their money down. Yeah.
Over-unders. All right. Here we go. Zach Wilson, 200 yards passing. I'm going to start first. Ray, I'm going under. Surprise you.
No.
Why? A couple of weeks ago, you had some gaudy numbers from Zach. You were predicting. Yeah.
Go ahead, Ray. Zach Wilson, 200 yards passing. Over under.
I'll say over barely.
Okay, Ralph.
I'm gonna say under. I think that, yeah. It's
Okay.
always a safe bet with him.
Brees Hall. Brees Hall, 135 yards rushing and receiving combined. We'll start with Ralph.
I'm gonna go over. I think he's gonna pop one.
Ray.
Ooh, yeah, I'll go over. I never, with their Giants has a decent defense, so if he doesn't pop one, he's going to have at least one pretty good run to do that. But I think he will.
Okay, I'm going to go.
If they run him enough.
Right. I'm going to go over. I think he's going to have a great game. I think he might get 135 yards just on rushing alone. I'll start Garrett Wilson, 100 yards receiving. I'm going to go under. I'm not quite sure what type of tacklers the Giants are, but unless they don't wrap him up, I don't see any way. I don't think he's going to get the 100 yards receiving. Ralph?
I'm gonna go under as well.
Oh, okay. Ray?
Yeah, I'm going to say under only because I don't know that if they're terrorizing Zach, I don't know how much he's going to get to him.
Okay, there you go. All right, Ray, start with you. The Jets defense, 4.5 sacks, over or under?
Under.
Okay. I'm going to go over. I think they're going to have a great game. All right.
Have you ever had that many in the last 4 years?
I just think the
Giants
Giants
have terrible offensive
their
line.
offensive line is awful. The
Yeah.
last game, I think they gave up 5.
No, I know. I get
first
that.
half.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the offense does not match up against.
That's still a lot of sacks for us, it seems
I know.
like. I don't remember
Yeah.
the last time we've had that many.
Well, last year we had 6 against the Patriots,
Patriots.
two different games.
Yeah.
I'll go under. I think 4 is the number. I'll go 4.
All right. Who's going to get the first sack, Ralph? Huff, Quincy Williams, or Carl Lawson?
I'll go with Quinnen. Right up the middle.
Okay,
Splits.
Ray?
I'll take the Huff. I was going to say Quincy, but I'll take Huff.
I'm going with Quincy Williams.
Yeah.
All right.
Got a shot.
Okay, Ray. Giants defense on the Jets offense, over under 3.5 sacks.
Mhm.
Over.
Okay, I'm going to say under. I think somehow they're going to have a good game, and I think they are going to have the quick passes, not giving the Giants a chance. So I'm going to go under. Ralph?
I'll say 3 under as well.
Okay. All right, Ralph, we're going to start you the last over under. Quincy Williams, 9.5 tackles. That's combined solo and assist.
I'll always go over with my guy Quincy.
Okay, Ray?
What is it again? What?
9.5 tackles.
I'll go over.
I'm going to go under just to be a little different. Okay, that's good. All right, now we're going to get back to the trivia question. But before we do that, just some guy wrote something on the internet about the I guess it's the 9 top players that played on both the Jets and Giants. I'll go through quickly. This is just purely subjective. He said Leonard Williams is number 9, Dave Jennings is number 8, Plaxico Burress is number 7, Kareem McKenzie's number 6.
How about Snacks Harrison? He must be on that list.
Hold on, Ralph. Don't get ahead of yourself. Wait a minute. Hold on. See, it's hard to follow this on the internet.
Dave Megan. He didn't play that well for the Jets, did he?
He played like 2 games.
Yeah.
I don't remember. He played the 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 is Snacks Harrison.
See that? My Karnak the Magnificent, whatever.
4 is Pepper Johnson. I don't buy that. He wasn't good on the Jets. 3 is Leonard Marshall. He wasn't good on the Jets either.
No.
These are
2 was
at the end.
Yeah, 2 is Jumbo Elliott. That I would give.
Okay, Jumbo Elliott. Yeah.
And
I wouldn't put him as high as 2 though.
No.
number 1, I don't know. Don Maynard, Ralph. Which,
That's it.
Which
I don't even think he got on the field with the
Well,
Giants.
believe it or not, he did return a punt in
I was
the
just gonna say he was probably a
Yeah.
punt.
the 1958 classic game. So, okay, let's get to Ralph's trivia because his overshadows anything I do on the trivia. Go ahead, Ralph.
Jets feasted on 3 backup quarterbacks last year: Miami, Denver, and Chicago. Name the 3 quarterbacks that they feasted on, and how skeptics thought their defense was deceptive because they played all those, and they've proven that wrong, by the way, because of the way they've played against these quarterbacks this year.
I'm only going to have one guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn to Ray. Ray, this is a Ray type of.
No,
I said Trevor Siemian, but I can't remember if he was on Chicago or Denver.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, he was on Chicago.
Okay, all right. So Ray, do you have any guesses on
was
that?
it Brent Rippon?
That's right, Brent Rippon,
Denver.
who was a relative of Mark Rippon. Yeah.
Right. He was
Yeah.
on Denver, and I can't think of the name of the guy. I know
I
knew
couldn't
the guy
get
in Miami, but I can't think of his name. That's how.
Oh, I know who it was. It was Skylar Thompson.
correct. Yes,
I mean, just
yes.
came to me. I didn't look it
I
up.
could not think of his name.
I remember that.
And Marty's about to say, and all 3 of those are better in the red zone than Zach Wilson.
They look more comfortable. That's what
Marty, you look more comfortable in the red zone than Zach Wilson.
I think I watched too much of Tom Brady. That's the problem, you know.
Now, speaking of Tom Brady, I mean, you look at Josh McDaniel. Is it obvious that Tom Brady made geniuses out of all of the coaches over the years? When are they going to stop hiring these Patriots? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. So, anything else before we close this out? Ray, Ralph?
Yeah, we didn't make a prediction first of all.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Predictions, right?
Prediction.
I'm going back and forth on this.
I'm going to predict the Giants are going to win 16-10, and then they're going to bench Zach Wilson.
So it's a win-win
In other
for
words,
you, Marty.
Marty's dream outcome is that.
Go ahead, Ray. You go.
I always fear this game because I think the Giants, even when they stink, have that thing just because it's like you say for bragging rights. But I still feel like we can win this one. It might be because of the defense, but I think we'll win it 24-21.
There you go, Ralph.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth. I always worry after bye weeks, and I also worry that this is the first game the Jets have been favored in this year, and that worries me too. But I'm going to end up saying the Jets are going to win it comfortably, 27-14.
I hope you guys are right, and I hope I'm wrong. And coming out of the bye week, Robert Saleh is 0-2, but it's a brand new season, so let's see what happens. So everyone enjoy the Jets.
Wait a minute, I got one thing for you guys because there is something to this game too. Does the number 7 mean anything to you guys
in this game?
Yeah,
it's the 7th game of the year. I don't know.
No. Well,
Mickey Mantle.
Yearly basis.
What?
7 years we've lost the game coming out of the bye week.
Ooh, I like that because I'm always a believer that streaks are going to be broken.
Okay,
I think this is the one to break.
By the way, if the Jets win the game, they get the Mike Battle Trophy, and if the Giants win the game, they get the Victor Cruz Trophy.
That's right. So, Ray, that's going back to Todd Bowles, then, right?
I had to.
Wow, that's a good question, Ray. Yeah.
I was like, when is the last time we won one coming out of the bye? Because it seems like we always, have 2 weeks to get ready and then throw out a stinker of a performance. So I'm looking at this is the year to break a bunch of streaks. We still got that Patriot one.
We got that Patriot one we got to do, yeah. And this bye one, which I have wasn't aware of. That's a good one.
Good one, Ray. All right, for Ray Clifford, Ralph Sharega, and I'm Marty Schupak. Enjoy the Jet Giants game. Until next time.